All right, we are back again. The crew is back. It's been a while. I think our last full episode was maybe week 2 or week 3, but now we are entering week 6 already of the NFL season, which is crazy. Week 7 of NCAA, and we got a little bit of MLB playoffs starting. It's gonna be a fun show. I'm happy to be joined by at Die Bets, at Kylie Kaika. How you guys been doing?
It's been a rough week for me last week, so I don't really want to talk about that happens, but I'm sure Kyle did all right this week. Let's hear from him.
Yeah, college football was just so. NFL was pretty good. I think I was 5-2 on NFL. Was all over Cowboys spread and money line, which helped a lot too. So it was a nice week for sure. Josh, you betting on anything? Mariners?
Well, just taking last week, NFL was not too great, I'll say, but it wasn't terrible to be honest. I had a bunch of free bets courtesy of DraftKings, so I burned through most of my bad picks there. But no, I didn't bet on the MLB. I was pretty sad about the outcome. You know, as a lifelong Mariners fan, that really hurt. But you know, we've been living through disappointment for a long time, so it's just about how we bounce back, how we battle through adversity, and you know, I really want to take one off these Astros and then get another game in Seattle. That'd be sick.
Great.
Yeah, they might bump back the start of the Seahawks game for that. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, they are actually. Oh yeah, assuming they go to 4, which I don't know, man. I believe Louis Castillo, you know, absolute stud.
Dude, he's the man. He's the man. But it doesn't matter if the pen's just gonna
That's true,
blow
actually.
it.
That's absolutely true. Yeah, other than that, one of the biggest collapses in MLB postseason history. It's been a pretty good week, you know, just personally. But I should we dive into some college picks? If you guys got some lined up for the week, it's fun to have everybody back. Let's go.
Yeah, finally a full pod once again, dude.
Once again.
Start us off, man. What do you got for college football this week? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I have something, you know, I love to bet on those, you know, weekday games, you know, got to get a little action in. I passed on today. I originally had the over first half in the Marshall game, but I canceled that because I did not like the look of it pre-start. And it's
Probably smart.
I'm glad I didn't take it because it's 7-3 at halftime right now. So the first pick that I have is for tomorrow. I'm going to take West Virginia plus 3.5. Not a big play. I'm just going to put a unit on it. Playing at home against Baylor. West Virginia burned me once when I took them against Kansas. They're up 21-0 in that game, I'm pretty sure, at one point, and then they ended up losing by 2 touchdowns. So that's awesome from them. But, you know, it's a better spot for them. I think Baylor's been struggling a little bit in the past couple weeks. So I think, you know, I always like betting on West Virginia, one of the best home college environments for sure. So that's what we'll be rolling with to start us off tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird game because West Virginia, I know they had an exciting first game against Pitt, and then they kind of just like sucked. And then Baylor started off super hot, and past 2 weeks, like you said, they've just been really bad. So Baylor still laying 3 in West Virginia, like you said, pretty fun environment over there. So I don't know. I'm not picking that game, but that seems like an interesting game.
Yeah.
I'll throw one out there. I got speak of Kansas, I got Kansas Oklahoma over 62.5 right now. Oklahoma's defense is not great. They've been giving up a good amount of points. It's a weird spot where they're 3-3 now. Granted, they didn't have Dallon last game, and I guess most of the game before that. But they're 9-point favorites at home to Kansas, who's just been like rolling. Except for like, what was it last week they lost, right? Or 2 weeks ago to Duke? Was it that game?
It was 2 weeks ago, I think.
Okay, well, Kansas has been really good, and like, granted, the spread seems That seems like a lot of points to me, honestly. Like in a game where I think it's going to be really high scoring, I would lean towards Kansas, honestly, but I don't want to bet that. So I'll take the over. I think the points are going to be there. Kansas, even in their wins, they've all been pretty close relatively. So I think both teams just give up a lot of points. So I like that one.
All right.
Kansas.
Yeah, I guess building.
Sans
Yeah, go ahead.
Jalen Daniels.
Yeah. So no Jalen Daniels this week. They're rolling with Jason Bean. I'm not I'm not the biggest fan of Jason Bean. He might have improved from last year, but when he started off last year, he was looking very, very, very shaky. So, and he got benched for Jalen Daniels at the beginning of last year. So, I don't really believe in him in terms of a passer. Jalen Daniels not really much of a passer himself, but I think Jason Bean a little bit less explosive. But we'll see. That being said, I am taking Oklahoma -9 here. Dylan Gabriel's expected to be back this week. It's a bounce back spot for them. Kansas projected their win total was 1.5 at the beginning of this season. So, they're greatly outshining their expectations here, but, no starting quarterback, not probably talent wise, way worse than Oklahoma in general. I think it's a good spot for Oklahoma. So I'm taking Oklahoma -9.
Nice. That'll be interesting. Yeah, I thought, what's his name? Beam. I thought he looked. Thought he looked all right, and I just think Oklahoma's defense isn't great, and I think they'll be able to put up some points. But the next one I got Texas -16.5 at home against Iowa State. I think Iowa State's pretty trash. If I don't know, I think it's just like a big home game for Texas. They're trying to make a push for whatever it may be. They've already got 2 losses, so playoffs hopes are looking bleak. But if they can get into the Big 12 championship and maybe win that, then who knows if Alabama, Georgia potentially like lose one, and the last 2 spots are kind of up for grabs, I guess. So who knows what can happen. I think it's just a big game for them to come out and try to blow Iowa State out of the water here. So I like them minus the points.
All right. And that being said, I'm taking the exact opposite. I'm going Iowa State +17.
Nice.
I love it. I love it.
Just looking at it, I know Iowa State's been on a bit of a downswing. Texas has looked insanely good. Ewers is a very good quarterback as well, but I just think 17 points is just a bit too much for this Iowa State team that's, can control the ball on the ground as well. Not the worst quarterback in the conference, but I just think I'd rather roll with the 17 points here. More than 2 touchdowns, I'm going to take Iowa State.
Yeah, I just don't think Iowa State's going to be able to score much. Their offense is just bad, I don't think. So We'll see. It could be like a, I don't know, 28 to 14 game and they cover. So who knows? Trying to see if I had any other picks for college. Dallon, why don't you give another one?
Yeah, I got a couple. I'll go with the lower unit plays first. I got Minnesota -6.5 on the road against Illinois. So Illinois did sneak into the top 25 this week. I believe they are ranked 25th. And Minnesota should get Ibrahim back this week, and I think that's obviously going to be a big boost from them. This line, opened -3.5 Minnesota. It's moved up to 6.5 already when that Ibrahim news broke. And I'm buying at 6.5 as well. I think a touchdown is definitely good enough for me. They have superior quarterback play as well with Tanner Morgan. So, just going to take Minnesota here. 1 touchdown deficit. I think it's a no-brainer for me.
Nice. Yeah, actually, that is all of my college plays. So if you want to rattle the rest of yours off.
All right. we'll rattle. Penn State and USC is what we're rolling with. Penn State +7.5. USC +3.5. Penn State going to the big house. Michigan, going to be a good match. And I think Penn State has shown flashes of being a very, very good football team, but also, they can look very bad at times. I'm not too big on Michigan as a football team in general. I think they're probably, I don't know, should they even be top 5? I guess so, strictly based off of the fact that they're undefeated, but their strength of schedule has not been good. I just don't really see them as a legitimate contender this year in the playoffs. So I think Penn State minus or plus 7.5 is a good spot, and then USC going to Utah as well. Going to be a big matchup. I wanted to get 3.5 here, and I was able to. I didn't want to buy it plus 3, but I wanted that field goal hook, so we're rolling with Utah as well, or USC as well, just because I think their quarterback play. I think Cam Rising is very good, but Caleb Williams is obviously, he's looked like a stud to start the year in Heisman Trophy contention, I'd say. And their skill positions are great as well. So those are the two that I'm rolling with. That concludes the 1-unit plays. And then I have 3 more plays. Do you guys want to
Just
round them off real quick?
Yeah,
all right.
round them off.
Yeah, I mean, rolling with. Yeah, it's already up on the Twitter, but we'll go real fast. I got Ohio money line. Opened as a minus 2.5 dog to Western Michigan on the road. Since moved to about a -1 PK. I do think Ohio is the better football team and a better quarterback play. Western Michigan has really fallen off in the past 2 years or so. So I think they're in a little rebuilding stage. At least Western Michigan is. So I think Ohio should be able to pull this one off on the road. And then my 2-unit plays. We got Buffalo minus 17 against UMass. I strictly took this one based off of the UMass injury report being that QB1, QB2 on the injury report, RB1, RB2 on the injury report as well. And they got their wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 4 also on the injury report. They're also missing their first-string left guard, first-string left tackle, first-string linebacker, one of their first-string DBs, and their first-string fullback as well. So they're pretty beat up in general. I think that's been well noted by the UMass beat reporters. They're pretty beat up, and I think Buffalo is a team that is a bit surprising to start the year because I don't think anybody expected to be this good in the MAC, but they've definitely been better than expected, I'd say. And UMass is one of the worst programs in D1 college football, so 17 points here. I'm just going to take it.
Love it.
And then, last play, the big one. Does anybody want to take a guess on what this one could possibly be? Big top 10 matchup, excuse me.
Are you going Tennessee over Bama?
I am going Tennessee plus 7.5 at
the
home
at
against
7.5?
Bama.
Wow.
Snag Tennessee plus 7.5. What's the line at now?
I think it's at 7 right now.
Yeah, it's at 7.
Yeah, it is at 7. So was able to snag the hook there, which is nice. You always like to get that, especially in a one possession game like that. But yeah, I just think Tennessee has performed really well. They looked insanely good last week. Granted, I think that LSU defense is actually still very good, even though they got absolutely routed by Tennessee last week. But Tennessee just looks really good, and with no Bryce Young potentially, I think I understand Alabama's backup quarterback was probably a 4-5 star recruit, but
he didn't look that great, to be honest. He did not look that great.
Yeah, I mean, give me Hendon Hooker every day of the week over that backup quarterback. So getting 7.5 here, I got to take him at home. I might come to regret this, next week, but just going to slam that one.
I will say that one just seems a little trappy just because LSU's defense is – I don't think they're great, but I think they're better than they were. They muffed the punt on the opening kickoff. The very next possession, the punt return went almost to the house. So it was very short fields, and that just immediately set the tone of the game. So it was impossible for LSU to sit back. They had to play aggressive on defense, and that just the offense couldn't catch up. It didn't matter. And then also I think everybody's going to be loving Tennessee just because of Alabama looked shaky last week, and then also the quarterback situation. If Bryce Young, if he plays, he's going to be hurt. If he doesn't play, then obviously it's well, there you go. But I think it's a little fishy to me. That's why I'm staying away.
I do think one concern for me is in pass protection because obviously Will Anderson is a beast, but this Tennessee O-line's only allowed 8 sacks on the year, so hopefully that pass pro can stand up a little bit against Alabama's really good defense, and they spread the field really well, and I think Hendon Hooker is a good quarterback at this stage in his career. So, yeah.
All right.
Might be a trap, but we'll see.
Well, I guess we'll see. Let's kick it to the NFL. What do we got? Week 6.
Week 6.
Week 6.
Start Thursday night. Tomorrow night, Commanders at Bears. Spicy one. Bears
Wow,
laying
spicy.
1 over under 37.5. I don't have anything. I'm not touching this. You guys have anything?
I do,
Absolute
yeah.
stinker of a game.
It's
Oh,
a,
you do?
It's a stinker.
You
Okay.
got the under? The
But
Thursday night under?
It's a Thursday night game. We got to get a little action, as Dallon mentions. We bet midweek to keep it live, right? And so that's why we're going Washington -1. I think
Bears are
Washington
-1
is.
right now.
Oh, really?
So
I
either
thought the line opened at Bears -1 and has moved to Washington -1.
it's at -1 right now on
Yeah.
FanDuel.
Oh,
It's a
my
PK
God.
on like other sites as well. So,
I gotta
Well,
make
even
sure
better.
here.
You get them +1.
that's even better.
Yeah, give me money line right here. I want Washington. That's what I had wrote down originally, but then I thought I saw a different line.
Okay.
So I want Washington
Love it.
money line. I think Fields is the worst quarterback in the NFL, and I think Carson Wentz is, he's just hit or miss, right? And I think he's gonna hit tomorrow. And it's a pick 'em. I'll take
Alright.
Washington.
I agree. I
Not
think
much like
just-
logic. Just I think Fields is terrible, and I think Washington has more talent.
Yeah, I think they're pretty equal. Carson Wentz just has a couple moments where he looks fantastic, and that's just a couple more than Justin Fields is going to have during the game. So I like Washington to win too, actually, but I'm not going to bet it.
All right. Well,
Moving on
I
to
have.
you
no
got
play.
it too?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
I have no play.
All
I
right.
was leaning the under,
That's
but
a Thursday
I just
night
decided-
fun. That's what it stands for. TNF. Thursday
Dude,
night
I hate betting
fun.
Thursday night unders because I want points. I want it to be exciting, but it's just always the right play.
I'm betting college instead tomorrow. Instead of the
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, we move to Sunday. Bucks at Steelers. Bucks -8.5 over under 43.5. Dallon, let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, no play for me here. Don't really want to touch this one. I was honestly leaning Steelers +9, as disgusting as that sounds. Kenny Pickett, has some heart. I will say, we saw him get 2 roughing the passer penalties in that last game, and the Bills playing a little bit dirty there, and he actually stood up for himself. Kenny Pickett did, and I like the feistiness, but I just can't get myself to bet on the Steelers. So,
Well, he had some
I'm
heart,
not
but
touching
they
this
also got blown out by 30 points, and it was a 15
well, listen,
point
it's the best.
spread.
It's one of the best teams in the league.
So maybe Vegas knows something. Yeah, I also don't have a play here. Kenny Pickett, I don't think he's a good quarterback right now. I mean, he might have heart, but I just don't think he can really control the offense. And I honestly would lean Tampa Bay here just because I think their defenses can take advantage of someone who clearly does not have much command over the football yet. And yeah, Pittsburgh defense isn't that intimidating. They play a lot of man. Bucks have a lot of good receivers. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't got a pick either. I saw a tweet though that was like, what's the most like overrated record in the league right now? And someone replied, Steelers at 1-4. They should be 0-5. They're absolutely trash.
Wait, who did they beat?
I have a question.
They
I have
beat
a
the
question,
Bengals
guys.
week 1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was that overtime bonanza when they missed.
Bengals also had like
both
3
misses.
picks or something, or Burrow had like 3 or 4 picks. Yeah.
He had 4 and like 2 fumbles, a couple doinkers.
I have a question, guys. Do you think the total is a bit suspicious for this game at 44 points, or because I think it should be lower, but
Now that you
I mean,
mention it,
I don't know.
it does feel
I
really
mean, what is
high.
that, like 25 to like 16-ish?
I can't.
Yeah.
I can't even
26,
see
17.
Pittsburgh scoring 2 touchdowns in this game. I cannot see it happening. I don't-
26. Yeah, that's like 26 to 17.
Yeah, which is absurd to me that Pittsburgh. I mean, is
It's
they're
Kenny
projected to
Pickett's
score
second
17
start
points.
ever, right? Yeah.
Dude,
That's-
but think about it. Kenny Pickett throws like a pick 6, or he throws like 2 picks and they get short field. Bucks score easily. Like Bucks easily score like 35, and then like garbage time, Kenny Pickett comes down, throws one. Like that's just like I don't want to be on that.
You're right.
It's
I
possible,
kind of.
but
It is suspicious.
I
but
get what
don't
you're
know.
saying.
Then
Because like
you just
them
take-
trying to score 17, if like the team totals are implied there, like is a lot. I don't know.
That's what
Makes
I'm
me
saying.
want to go under. Makes me want to go under.
I mean, I think the Bucks hit 4 touchdowns easy though.
That's what the books want you to take is the under. That's why you got to take
Obviously,
it,
yeah.
No, dude, are you kidding me? Everybody bets the over. They always set it lower on purpose.
I cannot see Pickett scoring 2 touchdowns in this game. So Bucks
Yeah, but
scoring 30 plus, and their offense has struggled, man. Have they even scored above
Yeah.
30 once this year? I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know. Well, we can debate that later. Moving on to Dallon's favorite part of the podcast, where we talk about the Colts hosting the Jaguars as 1.5 point favorites. Over under 42.5. Everybody loves to bet the Colts. We'll let Dallon stew his thoughts. Trust. Why don't we start with you?
I mean, two teams in very interesting spots, right? Like the Jacksonville Jaguars came out looking kind of hot and then really fell off the last 2 weeks, I'd say. And then Indianapolis, who looked terrible against what might also be another terrible team in the Broncos. I don't know. It's hard to get a read on these two teams. I have no pick. I'd probably lean Jacksonville with the points just because, they've done it once. And Indianapolis's O-line looks very scary, and Matt Ryan does not look very confident back there. So I think Jacksonville can take advantage of that.
Yeah, I don't know. It was Jacksonville, like you said, they were hot, and then they were not. Trevor Lawrence was like, all right, he's finally coming into form. Oh, no, he's definitely a bust.
I still think their defense has been pretty good, though. I mean, it's just their offense, which has been lackluster. Yeah.
And the Colts O-line is very suspect right now.
Yeah, so you got to think, what the Colts won last week, 12-11. I think we could run that back. Jackson will give me +2,
Dude, maybe we go no touchdown score this game, plus 10,000. I don't know. Yeah, but I'm staying away from. I can't bet on the Colts or the Jags.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, boys, I lean Jaguars +2 as well. So, but not making a bet on this game just because I think the Colts are in for another letdown here. It appears the Jaguars are just their kryptonite. Can't win against the Jaguars, at least in the past 2 matchups. They played like absolute stinkers. Yeah, not much faith in the Colts. If JT plays this week, then maybe, but I'm just not touching this one. Not touching the total either. Don't like it. So.
You guys are just blessed with an easy division, but you can't beat any of them.
Yeah, it's really sad. The quarterback play is just lacking. That's why.
Going back to the Bucks real quick. The only time they scored 30 plus was they scored 31 against the Chiefs, but that was because it was that shootout, 41-31.
That was garbage time too.
Other than that, they scored 21 against the Falcons, 12 against the Packers, and 20 against the Saints.
Yeah, their offenses. Tell me how they're going to score 30 on the Steelers. I don't know, man.
Wait, how much did they score week 1 against the Cowboys?
They scored 20 against.
They scored 18 or something.
Oh, they only scored. Oh, it was 19-3.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
super
their
slow.
offense has been pretty bad.
Yeah, I knew they blew them out, but I didn't know they didn't score that many points.
Dak Prescott looked like a thumb. That's why. All right.
Bengals at Saints is the next one. Saints are +1.5, over under 43.5. A lot of low totals this week.
Yes, sir.
I don't know what to think about this. Initially, I'm on the Bengals. I think this is a good spot for Joey B and the offense to get back humming again. They played good last week, I guess, to put up numbies, and they've kind of been getting the ball rolling since the beginning of the season. So I'm on the Bengals 1.5 here, but it is a weird spot to be going into Saints. So we'll see, but I'm on the Bengals right now. Dallon, you got anything?
Yeah, I mean, I got my Hammah time lock of the week here, so I'm gonna pass this one on to Akahi. We'll get to this one later.
That's definitely.
Well, I'm super curious what your lock is. I don't have a play on this game. I'd probably lean Bengals though. I don't think New Orleans are really that scary, but I don't know. Yeah, let's move on.
Roger. All right, Jets at Packers. Packers lane 7, over under 45.5. Trusk. Anything for this one?
It's laying 7 right now?
Yeah, at home.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I was thinking Jets +7.5 here. I don't know if that's still available. But Actually,
Depends.
my pick here is over
I
45.0,
like that.
which I don't know. I'm a little sus about actually now that I say it out loud. But both defenses I think are gettable. I think LaFleur and Rodgers will scheme up touchdowns. And they have a pretty high floor for that. And Wilson has been playing better. Zach Wilson played well last week. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the over in this game. I think both teams will be able to score here. But I don't know. I might talk myself out of that. We'll see.
Dallon?
All right. Well, I got the Packers -7. I think it's a good buyback spot for them. Went to London, lost. It's a tough loss. Giants came out swinging in the second half. Actually, they're pretty good. Got a nice, 4th and goal stop as well. But I just think the Packers are just being undervalued here. I think, beginning of the season, this spread would be double digits most likely. Packers defense is still very, very solid. And, I understand Zach Wilson.
Though? Based on what?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the defense is a little overrated.
They have talented. They're talented, but they have not performed.
I came in thinking their defense was gonna carry them this season, and so far that hasn't been the case, and they've been in these tight games for the most part. So
I guess we'll see this week. They've dominated some bad teams at home, in past years as well. You just look to week 2 against the Bears, 27-10, wasn't even close. One of the worst Sunday night football games, this year. All the Sunday night football games have been pretty bad, though. Regardless, I just think the Packers are the much better team. Quarterback play, maybe not at wide receiver, but, running back wise as well. I just think they're defensively more superior. And the Jets, coming off of 2 wins, a Dolphins team that was starting Skylar Thompson for the majority of that game because Teddy B got knocked out with a concussion as well. And they beat the Steelers. And Kenny Pickett threw some picks that weren't really his fault. So, I just don't really have faith in the Jets. I'll just put it that way. That's one thing.
Yeah, I don't have faith in the Jets either. I think it's too early to commit to them being formidable. But I think they do have talent, and if they put it together, they could actually be good.
Yeah. I do not have a pick on this game. I've kind of been going back and forth. But I have a couple interesting stats, which kind of favors the over. Packers are only averaging 19 points a game, but they're putting up 380 yards a game, 244 in the air, 135 on the ground. But they also allow 320 a game. So the defense has been suspect, I think. It's still good. It's not as great as everybody thought going into the season. And then also the Jets are averaging 375 yards a game and giving up 330 yards a game. So I think there's a lot of offense to be had here sneakily. But it is at Lambeau, so maybe the Packers bounce back. Fluky week in London. Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll move on.
Line movement's also pointing towards that as well. 43.5 moved up to 45. So yeah.
Actually, one last stat: 53% of the bets on the spread are for the Jets, but 54% of the money on the spread is on the Packers. Interesting. Moving on. Pats at Browns. Browns -2.5, over under 43.5 once again. I don't have anything on this. I think these are 2 bad teams. I think, if anything, I'd bet the Browns money line, but I don't really want to do that. I just think their whole D-line's healthy now, right? Mm-hmm. They both played last week, Clowney and Garrett.
Yeah. Wait, what was the spread?
2.5 Browns. That's the sole reason I like the Browns in this game, because I don't think Mac Jones is getting it done, and is Bailey Zappi possibly still playing Zappi. That's why I like the Browns. I could talk myself into the -2.5, but I don't really have anything. Charles?
Yeah, I got New England +2.5 here. Let's ride. Yeah, I don't actually think they're a bad team. I think they are a average team. And I think their running game and their O-line is absolutely crushing it. The Patriots have players all across that O-line. And I think uh, Jacoby Brissett has kind of regressed a little bit. He's not playing at that elite level, and without him, it's hard for the Cleveland offense to be as effective. So I go New England here. I think Bill Belichick can take advantage of weaker quarterbacks, and I like their running game a lot. And I think the Browns have had struggle stopping the run game this year. So I'm going with New England plus 2.5.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, don't hate that. I mean, does it change that if because Damian Harris is supposed to be out for a couple weeks, I think.
Yeah, but
does it change that if only Ramondre Stevenson
was pretty good last week, right? I mean, he looked pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't watch many Patriots games. I'm just like, I wonder if they're only effective because they're able to, interchange them. But who knows?
I mean, I generally think if you're a good running back and there's a big hole, you're probably fine. So we'll see.
I do lean the Patriots as well, just for the record. But yeah, I'm not taking this one just because I do think Cleveland's running game is pretty formidable as well. And Jacoby, he threw that really bad pick in the end zone last week, almost made the Browns not cover. But I just can't see myself betting on either of these teams. So maybe I'll add the Patriots later, but I'm not betting on the Browns.
I feel like they're in very similar spots right now. Don't you agree? Like they're very similar, except I think the Browns are underperforming. Or I mean, they have more talent, but I don't know.
True. I've just talked myself into the under. Actually, I'm going under 43.5 as well. But trust, you mentioned Brissett. He's not playing at that elite level and has regressed. Curious, when was he at that elite level? What has he regressed from? You have to be at a certain point.
He was elite versus the Pittsburgh Steelers that game. Tell me not.
Can you say you're elite against the Steelers?
I mean, at the time, regardless of who was playing on defense, he was making all the throws. That's all I gotta say.
21 for 31, 220 yards, 2 TDs, no picks.
I mean, that's just a box score.
He got it done. But it's the Steelers. Anybody gets it done except Joe Burrow, I guess. All right. Fair enough.
The Steelers and the Seahawks. Their defense is okay.
Sure. I guess they had TJ then, right? Vikings at Dolphins. Dolphins are plus 3.5 at home, over under 45.5. Seems like a little bit of a trap. Vikings only given 3.5, given that Teddy and Tua might be out.
They're both out.
That's just like Teddy's confirmed concussed.
I mean, I guess he's definitely concussed.
I don't know if he's. Well, they only held him out. He passed the test apparently. I was listening on the radio. He passed the test, but they didn't put him back in because of the new rule that just came into place because of
the Waddle rule.
Yeah. So, I mean, he might be okay for this week.
But also the fact that everybody's giving them so much flack for putting Tua in the next week.
I don't know about. I'm pretty sure I read today though. I saw a tweet that McDaniels said Skylar's starting. So I don't know about Teddy, but I'm pretty sure Skylar's starting.
It does say over Teddy Bridgewater though, so maybe there's a chance that Teddy Bridgewater will come into the game later. But
dude, the fact that it's only Vikings are only favored by 3.5 just makes me want to pick them. It just seems like a trap, but I'm gonna pass.
And Miami defense also is pretty beat up, but I'm gonna pass too. I don't know what the heck's going on. I'm avoiding the chaos. So I don't know.
I feel like there's a pick to be made. Don't know what.
I mean, I'm passing too. I mean, I do lean Vikings. I just think, Kirk Cousins has been good when it's not prime time. So, I don't know. I can't bet on Skylar Thompson, so I don't want to take the Dolphins, but I also just don't want to take a team that's laying 3.5 on the road, I guess.
True.
Especially,
True. All right. Yeah, sketchy one there. We'll move on. Ravens at the Giants. Giants are 6-point dogs. Over-under set at 44.5. Coming off that hot win, Danny Dimes. Does he have it in him, Dallon?
No, he does not.
Oh.
I heavily lean the Ravens in this spot, although I did not pull the trigger. It was -3. It opened. It's moved to -5.5. There's a little bit of early season magic for the Giants this year. They're looking pretty decent. Their defense is actually looking, solid, I'd say. But, I just not sold on them like I'm not sold on the Jets. And I just think Lamar Jackson might have a field day on Sunday, but we'll see. That's why I'm not betting this one.
Trust.
Yeah, I got Baltimore -5.5 here. I'm not buying into the Giants. I'm not buying into Daniel Jones at all. I think the Ravens defense has been susceptible to good passing offenses, and the Giants really just aren't that. They make it work on the ground, doing screens, somehow moving the ball down the field, but they're not dynamic on offense. And yeah, I think Lamar Jackson. I think Giants defense is overperforming. Actually, I think they've been solid the last couple of years. They've had talent actually, but I think they're still giving up points. They're not a great defense by any metric. So yeah, Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yep. This is a consensus across the board. I'm also on Baltimore for this one. I think Giants, they're flying high, partying up in London after that big victory, and it's a letdown week for them after that, and Baltimore is going to come in hot. Yeah, I mean, for pretty much all the reasons you guys just said. So that's a consensus sweep. We'll move on to the Niners at the Falcons. Niners 5.5 favorites, over under at 44.5. I'm retired from betting on the Niners, as I've stated before, so I will not be betting on this game. Trust, got anything?
Yeah, of course. I got Atlanta +5.5. That might be a lot. Nah, I'm just kidding. I think the betting market is kind of adapting to Atlanta. Or I don't know. I thought -10 was way too much last week. And so I took them, and 5.5 here. I honestly expect this line to be a little higher just because San Francisco usually has their way with teams that are, not great, I think, in recent years. But I'm actually going to take the over on this game. Line has already moved from 42.5 to 44.5 is what I see now. I think Atlanta O-line is actually solid, and they're going against a weakened Niners defense and D-line specifically. Arthur Smith can put up points. He's creative, and I think they can put up points. I think their defense is not very good, and Kyle's going to be able to scheme up like he usually does against bad teams. And somehow they always seem to run up the score against these teams that aren't very good. So I think I like the over here. Yeah. I don't know. The line feels kind of trappy to me, honestly, but maybe it's the injuries. Maybe Atlanta's actually getting her some respect. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm with you. We're perfectly aligned. I'm going with the over as well. I really wish I had snagged this at 41.
For the 6th week in a row.
Oh, no. I can't take them every week, guys.
I actually bet the Niners last week, man. That seems so obvious. But
yeah, I took the Niners last week too. But
yeah, I wanted to, and I was like, I'm just going to let myself down.
Good. If you did, we probably would have all lost, so thank you.
Yeah, true. I probably, I want to snag this at over 41, but it's at over 44.5 right now. Significant line movement. And me and Akahi talked about it last week. Like, the Falcons, not really, they're sneaky good offense. We talked about them. We said, Mariota does his job. He's not, a guy that's going to give you 300 yards passing, but he can put points on the board. He can, or 200 or even 150, but he can put points on the board, and that's what we've learned. No Cordero Patterson as well, once again, and I still think, we're adjusting to that, but the over 41 when it initially opened was insane to me, and moving up 3.5 points is insane total movement. I think it'll be really interesting
also to see how SF plays without Bosa. I think their defense. I think it's obviously a lot weaker, right? Because having Bosa and Armstead just frees up the rest of their D line to be so free. So I think that could be a big hit. Not like anything drastic. They'll still be good. Just I think they'll be a little more gettable, especially up front.
Yeah, and Kyle Pitts is supposed to play this week, right? Didn't play last week, so adjusting to that
Maybe
guy,
Kyle Pitts will get the ball. I don't know.
Akahi dubbed him best receiver in the league going into week 1. So, You know, maybe
my fantasy league winner, and he's just a god. I don't.
Maybe
get
he puts up 2 tutties and 200 yards. Who knows? But yeah, I'm rolling with the over. Kyle, thoughts on your team?
Yeah, definitely not betting on it because I am definitely retired from betting on them. I do think we're gonna win. Akahi does bring up a good point with the injuries, though. We lost freaking Jimmy Ward came back for the first week, and then broke his hand on the opening kickoff. He's out.
Emmanuel Mosley too.
Yeah, I mean I feel
Emmanuel
like that's
Mosley
like a
tore his
wash.
ACL. He's out. Yeah, but Tashawn Gibson is getting way too much credit for like Fonga like literally doing everything back there.
Yeah,
Tashawn Gibson's a liability. Emmanuel
but
Mosley.
he hasn't been a liability though. They've been like good enough without him. I mean, with him. I mean, you know.
That's true. That's
why I think it's like, but.
E-Man, we do have some depth at corner for once. It's either going to be like Jason Verrett, or they're going to move like Ambry to the outside and put in like Diamador Lenore in the slot. So there's options there, but yeah, is Bosa confirmed out? I know he has.
Yeah,
a groin,
I don't know that. So maybe he'll play, but groins
groin
are usually like
it's pretty
kinda
bad
sketch.
though. Like you don't want to risk that. So
yeah, it's not one you can like just play through, right?
they are like pretty susceptible to being scored on this week, I'd say, if anything. So over has good potential.
But Dallon, before we move on, I wanna gear like how, like you saw that line where you like I want to bet SF. Like what was your scale there? Like how bad did you want to? How bad did you not want to? Like were you really leaning towards it?
Well, I mean, the thoughts were, yeah, I like the line, but can the 49ers cover -5 2 weeks in a row on the road? That was exactly what was going through my head.
Yeah,
but maybe they're just the cash cow.
You got to think too. Last week was like, it's like, can they do it? It was Baker. Like it wasn't can they do it? It was can Baker like do it?
It was also Matt Rule. It was also that Carolina team imploding.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. We'll move on. Panthers once again 10-point underdogs. The Rams over under is 40.5 for a 10-point spread. Rams, dude. Honestly, like my lock of the week would have been the Cowboys, and that was just like the freest thing ever. Like Rams O-line is depleted. Michael Parsons was gonna eat. The whole Cowboys D-line was gonna eat. That just seemed way too obvious, and which like almost scared me, but it didn't. But this one, not touching again. Honestly, kind of want to pick the Rams, but no thanks. Dallon?
Yeah, not touching this one either. I don't want to bet on either team. The Rams looked like dog shit last week, so don't really trust them right now. It seems like Matt Stafford only has eyes for Cooper Kupp. He doesn't know that other receivers exist, so I just don't trust either team. Baker looks like shit. Matt Rule just got fired, so we'll see how the whole new coach situation plays out with them. So yeah, no bet for me.
Yeah, I lean Rams here. I think I don't have a pick, but I think playing Dallas and the 49ers, probably the 2 out of the 5 best defenses, maybe top 2 in the league, really kind of skew people's perception. I think their O-line is obviously bad, but going against those 2 D-lines just make it look so much worse than it probably
exactly.
is. And I mean, there's talk about the Panthers trading their players. They fired their coach. Like I can't see that getting really much better. Yeah, I think it's a bounce back angle for the Rams, but the line kind of reflects that. So I don't know. I'm staying away.
Yeah, interesting one. Got a heater in the 4:00 slate. Cardinals at the Seahawks, fighting for last.
That's the 5:30 slate, bro.
Oh, 5:30
slate.
That's 5:30 slate. Some respect on Julio and the M's, huh?
Yeah, put some respect on
Seahawks Julio. At 3-point dogs at home. Over under is 50.5. Trust. Let's hear the thoughts, man. What's going on? Is Gino the guy? Is he getting paid next year?
I mean, oh god. I mean, obviously Gino is the guy. So, well, let me first talk about my pick here. I'm not gonna pick the Seahawks because their defense is just. I think if they play clean, they can beat the Cardinals, but they haven't been able to play clean at all this year. Like, I mean, Michael Dixon, I don't know what he was doing last week, but he blew that. DK fumbling. But I like the over and maybe this is a little high, 50.5. It feels really high. But Seattle defense is 32nd in the league in terms of like EPA. They're probably close to that in points and yards. They're
440
not
yards.
they're not gonna improve in 1 week. And so I think Arizona, who has played a tough slate so far, actually could score points. And that brings me to my next point. The Seattle offense is absolutely elite right now. Highest DVOA in the league, fourth in EPA per play, highest yards per carry, second highest yards per catch. Gino has been, I think, the most efficient quarterback. And honestly, like the throws he makes just are unreal. It's not like he's just doing like easy stuff. Like he's doing some crazy shit, man. Like honestly, better than I've seen Russell Wilson play in a long time. So I'll take the over here. I don't know who wins. I kind of like Seattle +3 at home, but I thought it was only 2.5. So I wasn't gonna bet the game. They're just not playing clean, like in terms of making stupid ass mistakes. So they can't win. Like they have in order to win, they have to play mistake free.
Dallon?
That's just not happening.
No bet for me here. I mean, I might add something later, but I can't see myself, taking either side here. And in terms of the total, I do lean the over as well, just because I do think the Seattle's offense is, sneaky good, as Trosk has alluded to. But yeah, I do think Kyler will put up some points this week, especially against probably the worst defense in the league, or at least one of them.
Lions still worse.
I lean the.
We'll take second.
Okay, second worst. But yeah, I do lean the over, but I probably won't place a bet until later. So.
Yeah, this is weird.
Kyle, we're riding the overs. I thought.
I took the Seahawks. Yeah, I'm a pass. I took the Seahawks last week against the Saints. It's really devastating. They got that 2-point conversion. That would have covered the 5.5. I've been riding the over on the Seahawks, and it's been one of the best bets of the season, honestly.
Well, I mean, okay, so listen, going back to their Falcons game, it's gone 51, 90,
right
93, and 71. I mean, what is like? I don't see Arizona slowing down the Seahawks offense, and I don't.
Yeah, but
obviously the Seahawks aren't stopping anyone. So
it's just like a home divisional dog. When the Seahawks look much better than anticipated, there's gonna be a lot for the Seahawks to play for. Honestly, here, like
I mean,
they
I
think
guess
they're
you could
still
try
fighting
it.
for the playoffs, and home dogs in the division is just like that's just so dangerous. So, and if that's the case, it could be like a gritty game. But yeah, I'm gonna pass on a pick for now. But maybe we'll touch on it later. Let's go to the Bills Chiefs though. Somehow not in prime time over these two other divisional games, which But Chiefs are 2.5-point dogs at home. Over under set at 53.5. Seems like the public's gonna be 95% on the over. Like, how can you not be? But I want to pick the Bills. I think the Chiefs and Mahomes might get exposed a little, but I can't bring myself to do it yet. Can one of you guys talk me into that? Or out of it?
Well, it's not going to be me because I'm not taking a side on this game. I would just want to sit back and enjoy some nice Mahomes versus Josh Allen action,
Just tune for points, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, we could take the over here. I don't hate the spot, but, I think there is a case to be made for the Chiefs just absolutely shitting the bed. So, who knows? I don't really want to touch the total either. Akahi, what do you got?
Yeah, I don't have a pick. I like Buff here. Being at home at KC is the only thing that is kind of like the factor that evens it out for me. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I go Buff here. I think there's a chance that better defense is played or sloppier offense is played. So maybe this doesn't go over. So I'm staying away.
Yeah, it's tough. The Chiefs defense has not been great, and so I think the Bills offense is going to roll. And the Bills D has showed some pretty good stuff in spurts. So So I don't know if the Chiefs are going to be able to keep up, but yeah, we'll see. I just want to root for points, honestly. So that's why I want to bet the over. But I feel like this is just everybody's going to bet the over,
Yeah.
But we'll go to Sunday night. Cowboys at Eagles. Eagles -6. Over under 42.5. Dallon, let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Cowboys in this spot. I just think Cooper Rush is playing out of his goddamn mind right now.
His
I
10
bought them at
completions
plus-
last week.
Okay, listen. He's a
elite.
great game manager. I mean, you called Jacoby Brissett elite earlier in the show, so I don't know. All right, regardless,
Undefeated.
I do think their defense is very good. Obviously Micah Parsons can get to the quarterback. That might change with, Jalen Hurts being so mobile, but I think the Cowboys do have the talent to keep up with a team like the Eagles. It's going to be a divisional game as well, and getting 6 points, in a divisional game is something that I will always take. I did snag them at +5. I might have to rebuy at +6 instead, but yeah, I'm leaning Cowboys +6 here. That's going to be my pick.
I actually got my lock of the week on this one.
Oh, okay.
But should I just speak on it or no? We only have one more.
If you want to. You want to put it out there.
Yeah, I mean, might as well because I'm riding with Dallon here. Let's go. I don't know if that makes you feel a little worse. Dallon or Dallas, excuse me, +6.5. Is it 6 or 6.5?
I'm seeing 6, but
yeah,
I was looking at
6 too.
DraftKings. Okay, 6. Either way, that half point doesn't really matter. Yeah, I don't know, man. Jalen Hurts. I read a stat today. He's been a little bit. He hasn't performed great under pressure. Philly O-line is keeping him clean for the most part, which makes sense. They have a great O-line, but I actually think their offense has really struggled. If you look a little deeper in the last last 3 or 4 weeks, right? Like they have not been putting up the points you might expect. And so I think Cowboys will be able to cover, force the 46.5 or force a 6.5 point cover. Yeah. Cooper Rush is, I mean, he doesn't scare me at all, but maybe he doesn't, like Dallin mentioned, maybe he doesn't mess up. And so he doesn't give any fuel to the Philly defense, which is actually legit too. So I think it's a low scoring game. Dallas covers.
Interesting.
And that's a lock of the week.
Very interesting. I think I'm on the Eagles on this one, actually. I think that Cooper Rush, as he's undefeated as a starter so far, it may be a little too in over his head, and so is the Cowboys fan base right now. Going into Philly is a divisional game. It's gonna be super intense. I think Cooper Rush gonna crack a little bit. I think although the defense has been really solid, I think Eagles offense, I think they're actually been pretty good. They've been putting up pretty solid points, I believe, actually, contrary to belief. And I think
not really, but
I mean, let's see. They put up, well, we'll take out the 38 against Detroit. Minnesota, they put up 24. Washington 24. Jacksonville 29. Arizona 20. That's gotta be like top 10, top 7.
Yeah, scoring over 20 points is usually good.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And I do see the stat. I have seen the stat that under pressure Hurts has not been great. So, that does worry me a little bit because
I mean, the thing for me on that is like none of those defenses are very good, right? Like
yeah, that is true. That is true.
Facing a great D line, so yeah.
I don't know.
Scored 20 against
win for the Cowboys. Yeah. I think that was just a good matchup for them against the Rams, and then they've also beat like Washington and the Giants, and the Bengals week 2 was like in shambles, and then they got smoked by the Bucs in week 1. So I guess this will be a test of who the real leader of the division is.
Literally,
but yeah, Hammah time lock of the week, and we'll see. Monday night, last game, Broncos at Chargers, another divisional game. Chargers -4.5, over under 45.5. Trosk, anything for this one?
I just gotta shout out Russell Wilson. He's been taking it real hard in the media recently, and I just got your back, brother. I got no picks this week. I think Denver offense is terrible. Russell looks terrible, man. So
Oh, so much for having his back.
Russell, you gotta rest that. I don't know if it's your lat or your brain, but clearly either one is not working for you. So, yeah, I don't have a pick. I'd lean. Honestly, I don't know. I might lean Denver because I still think their defense is elite, but I don't know. I'm staying away.
I mean, I snagged Denver +5 when it was at +5, so that's what I'm rolling with. You know, I expect a little bounce back game from Russell Wilson. Maybe media is super low on him. Like Akahi said, I still think the Broncos defense is very good. So I think the Chargers have looked shaky at times this year. So I will be rolling with the Broncos, especially with what might be a 50-50 attendance-wise in terms of fans, just because they're playing in LA. So,
but it'll turn to like 25-75 after they boo Russell Wilson like after the first quarter. So.
dude, the fans
is it even a home game for the Broncos anymore? I don't know.
The Broncos fans were leaving going into overtime.
Yeah, I know.
That was wild.
I mean, truly, we've been waiting for a bounce back game from him for like 4 weeks, but if his injury is real, then that could be actually a limiting factor. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm on Chargers because I don't believe in Russ and I don't believe in the Broncos. Chargers defense isn't great, so maybe they put it together, but I don't know. It's just been shambles, and I like rooting against them right now. But yeah, let's go to the Hammah Time locks of the week. Akahi already gave his. Dallon, what do you got for us?
All right, I'm with Kyle. I'm rolling with the Bengals money line, baby. Let's go in the big easy. I think it's a little Joe Shiesty. Just gonna be a vintage game from him. And I think the Saints, they scored a lot of points last week, but they're playing the second worst defense in the league. So
and they got handed great field position twice.
Exactly, and Taysom Hill's not going to be able to do that again. So I'm rolling with the Bengals, baby. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Hooday.
Let's ride on that one. I'm all over that. For my Hammah Time lock of the week, I got to roll with the best bet in the line. It's the Seahawks over. I mean, how can you not be riding that? Are you kidding me?
Wait, were you saving that or?
Are you kidding me? That's like, how am I not riding this until it doesn't hit?
I mean, that's what I have. Yeah.
The Cardinals defense trash. Seahawks defense trash. Geno Smith's been putting up numbers. He's throwing dimes. Lockett's looking like he's 23. Freaking Kyler Murray just running around. No one's going to be able to catch up to him. He's going to throw it to freaking whoever. It doesn't even matter. They're going to put up points. 50.5. Like, they're trying to creep up the line, but it's still too little bit. But you said 93 points, 71 points. It don't matter. It's going over. I might alternate over like 70.5. Who knows?
I mean, it
could
easily.
Let's go on.
All right, I love it. Another great week. You got your Hammah Time locks of the week. Lock it in. See you next week.